I have never seen Jesus the way Thomas does in that famous gospel story in John. When Jesus comes to the disciples in a room and Thomas isn't there, and then Jesus comes later and Thomas is there, and Thomas can see him and touch him. I've never had that experience. I've never seen Jesus, but he has come through my walls. He has stood in my midst. I have felt his peace, his breath. I have never seen Jesus the way St. Faustina did in her famous vision. We always read the Gospel of Doubting Thomas the Sunday after Easter in my tradition, the Catholic tradition. We call that Divine Mercy Sunday because that's when we also remember this vision that this Polish nun, St. Faustina, had in the 20th century, where she saw Jesus and the light raying out of his heart, the love raying out of his heart like light. It's a beautiful image, and we always think about it the Sunday after Easter, and I've never had that experience. I've never seen Jesus that way, but I have felt that light within me. I have felt my own heart swell. And I think that's the way it is for most of us. And that's the theme of my retreats. That's the focus of my ministry. That's the heart of my own faith life and prayer life. I think for most of us, the experience of Jesus is subtler, is more diffuse. I mean, all praise for those visions and those appearances and those miracles down the ages. That's wonderful. But that's not true for most of us. And if we don't understand that, if we don't accept that for almost all of us, it's more diffusive and more present, we'll think that Jesus isn't here. We'll think this is all made up. We'll think that Jesus isn't here when he's everywhere. That's what's at stake here for me. Jesus isn't obvious, but he is everywhere. And blessed are we when we know that and can feel that. This is deep in our tradition, this sense of who Jesus is. In the 12th century, St. Bernard, in the 12th century, writes about his own experience of Jesus in prayer, how there's nothing, he says, sensational. And by sensational, he means having to do with the senses. He says, there's nothing sensational. I don't see anything. I don't hear voices. But then he says this, and I think it's quite wonderful. I suddenly feel a warmth, a glow in my heart, and I know that the bridegroom is here. A warmth, a glow. It's just marvelous. In the 16th century, St. Ignatius, the founder of the Jesuits, describes a vision he had of Jesus as this kind of vague but bright light or shape, white shape with light raying out of him. It's a little like the vision of St. Faustina, in fact, but it's much less defined. It's a something that Ignatius sees. It's a vague light, and even that is more specific than Ignatius usually is. For him, the experience of Jesus is really a matter of intuition and of feeling. He can never pin it down. He can never put it into words. And like a modern Jesuit thinker, William Barry, I find that very consoling, very reassuring. This is what William Barry says. I have no idea how to describe the Jesus I contemplate. This is William Barry. Yet I too believe that I have encountered him and gained some interior knowledge of him. Images like this keep coming up again and again throughout the history of our faith, of a light, a fragrance, a stream, a taste, a sense. This is just so important. Nothing is more important than this. It's not that Jesus doesn't exist. It's that he is always and everywhere present, just not in a way we expected. He is far more pervasive. He is woven into the fabric of our lives. What Rowan Williams, the former Archbishop of Canterbury, calls a steady swell of loving presence, there at work in the center of everything that is. A steady swell of loving presence, always there at work in the center of everything that is. And this comes close to it for me, too, when I think back on a day or on a week, and I realize that God was always there, just beneath the surface, all around me. This is the divine mercy. A steady swell of loving presence. This is the divine mercy. And we feel it in our chest and behind our eyes, like the beginning of tears. Make holy, therefore, these gifts, we pray, by sending down your Spirit upon them like the dewfall. Some of you may recognize those words. They are from the second Eucharistic prayer of the Catholic Mass at just the moment of the consecration. For us as Catholics, the Eucharist, communion, is unique. It is the source and the summit, Vatican II says. And yet somehow, at the same time, it is like the morning dew. I can't pin it down. I can't put it into words. But this is the center of the retreats that I try. I just try to create a space in which we can feel this and remember this and be embraced by this. We all know it, we just forget it. This is what my retreats are about. The dewfall, ordinary, beautiful, on every blade of grass.